Are your corrections meaningful? Watch this video. My recommendation is this. If he's in the house and you are lacking control, and he's the only dog in the home, so it will be safe. There's safety parameters around this. I have a leash on this dog, and I'd even have a prong collar on this dog. So if you have to give a leash correction, you can apply the least amount of leash pressure with the most meaningful correction for stop it behavior. Anytime your dog is barking and he is incited and you are trying to interrupt that moment, disagree with that behavior, redirect his brain, snap him out of it, you have to match your level of correction to the level of excitement. I want him to learn. Pop the leash right now and tell him quiet.
Quiet.
Pop it again. Pop it again.
Quiet.
Good. The second one, you broke his fixation.
Yeah.
The first one you didn't, so the first one was ineffective.
Okay.
He just discovered the camera person. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
So now, but does that make sense? You're not going to pet him, but does that make sense?
Yes.
So he barked, you gave a leash correction, correct him, pop it.
Stop it.
So what I do is shorten up my line so your correction is a little cleaner and more to the point.
Yeah.
Okay? But if when you go to correct your dog, if it does not break the fixation, it is completely ineffective, like you didn't even do it. And all you're showing him is you have no power. Are you tired of having your dog jump on you, yank you all over on leash, or even frustrate you to tears? I've created a community that gives you step-by-step instruction of how you can have the relationship with your dog that you always wanted. Join Top Dog Academy community today. Dogs in the dog world, the leader does not negotiate. When my puppy is jumping on my Rottweiler's head, dominant Rottweiler, not dog aggressive, but dominant. And what does he want? He wants space. He's not gonna let that puppy jump on his head and be disrespectful in one moment because I just don't feel like it. And then the next time, correct my puppy in a very convincing way. All right? Dogs are not inconsistent in the boundaries they're establishing, but humans are. Our inconsistency makes us not believable, so we have to work twice as hard when we're actually applying correct technique. When he does something you don't want to do, like bark at a stranger, there's no threat here, you have no business doing that. We need to teach him what's allowed and what's not allowed. You want the correction to be meaningful enough that he doesn't want to repeat the mistake. So if he's fixated and barking and you correct, and he doesn't even look at you or break his fixation, you correct again and he doesn't even break, he's telling you, I don't care. You give a strong enough leash correction that's meaningful, that it snaps his brain out of it. Now he's focused on you. So the difference is about stopping the moment or correcting the behavior. So now if you've had to give 3 corrections and the third one finally worked because you increased it, you know what level you have to be on the first one. Roy was just saying, I'll correct him, and I'll correct him, and sometimes I just end up walking away. Or you might get his attention finally and you end up just walking away. If you are struggling with what you believe is correct technique, but the end result isn't as absolute as you would like, then you do need to audit. Is my first correction strong enough is it meaningful enough to matter to deter the unwanted behavior? Is my timing correct? Is my demeanor correct? Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So,
sometimes I get mad.
but those are and we don't want to get angry. So those are the things that we want to pay attention to, because the answer in all things is not a stronger correction at all. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying let's break it down to simple barking at another dog while he's on leash with you. If you are correcting like we just saw a minute ago, and he acts like he doesn't even feel it, and you correct again and you correct again, and finally it is a meaningful correction enough that it snaps his brain out of it, that third correction needs to start being your first correction. The correction that you give in your living room to disagree with something will be very different than the correction you give when you're out in public and now he's incited, possibly showing dog reactivity. Does that make sense? But you also have to pay attention to what's your energy behind it. A lot of times a correction is not believable because the energy is a little passive. And I'm not talking about being angry or being loud. I'm talking about being sure. It's like, I'm gonna win. And making sure the energy behind your correction is believable. If you don't have energy behind your correction, you're not believable. It's not the action, it's the energy behind the action. That's what's gonna help you. And at the end of the day, you gotta win. Like he's chewing on the shoe, you could put him in the crate 100 times.
Right.
He will never learn not to chew on that shoe by putting him in a crate.
But if I'm
leash
correcting him.
But if you leash correct him when he has that shoe and he spits it out and you win, now he'll start to learn.
But I'm gonna have to keep doing it. And
But you have to
reinforcing it.
your correction has to be meaningful enough to take away the desire for the item. And the correction has to be meaningful enough that he doesn't want to go back to the item. It's not a matter of how many times are you going to repeatedly correct, because if it's done right, after the first or second time, you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be having to correct, because they learn. Till the next lesson, we just thank you so much for listening. We hope you gained some value. And again,